Hello everyone, this is Cyb3r-Assassin for Dc615, and we're here today to talk about the hardware badges that we had designed and engineered for our local Defcon group. First of all, DC is Defcon, and Defcon decided to come out with a little groups situation where people can petition or request that they can open up a hackerspace group within their local area code, and if they're accepted, then they get to utilize the name. I co-founded Dc615 with Brent White. He's now heading that up as I've parted and moved down to Florida for the time being. But I'm still much involved with the DC615 and their movement forward, and we're here to talk about that group and the badges designed and maybe encourage you or some other groups to take a look at them or think about their designing from another perspective. I think what has gotten very popular in the hackerspace world with badges and badging has they've become something to show off with. So we're going to design something that is very flashy and cool, has some features that shows off everything that we can possibly do. Look how elite we are. And that is the exact opposite approach that we took with the DC615 group. Now, with that being said, it really falls back towards our methodology of creating this group, what Brent and I sat down and decided what is going to be our methodology moving forward. And for us, it was back to the late 90s. What was a hacker? What is hackers? Let's really think about this from the true 90s perspective of what created this community. What was the perspective that we grew up in when we saw whether you agree with a lot of it or not. When we're young, you look up to certain aspects, such as the Free Kevin movement from 2600 and how huge, monumental 20 place that 2600 had in hackerspace for the 90s. It was really a wild west then, and people still say it is now, and I don't really feel like it is anymore. There's a lot of big business in the way, but the heart and the hacker cons are kind of that still the Wild West, because they bring in or they hit back to the roots of possibly anyone from their 30s up grew up from and inspired to be from. It is why they tinkered. It was, a way against the man, because no one understood at that time. You were probably smarter than most of the people in school, and you just had different ambitions. The things were boring, but computers were hard. They were confusing. They were cool, and it did whatever you told it to. And you screwed up, and it's your fault. And you found out new ways, and you thought a new logic, and you wrote some code. Then you thought a new logic. You rewrote some code, and you thought a new logic, and you rewrote some code again. It was a personal evolution that you could always see, you can always play with. And when doors were put up because they were at a limited knowledge base and for limited thinking of the people that are using them. And you come up here and you blow the doors off of it because you thought in a whole different realm, in a whole different way. And then here comes Big Brother, and here comes big business a little bit later. And at that time, it's now you're in trouble. Now you can't do this. Now there's laws and people putting restrictions on what you can learn. And in that way, it felt like it possibly started to take away from what was the hacker culture and people being afraid to learn. But open source was the freedom of everything it could have. It was the freedom of knowledge. It was the right of man to educate themselves and know new things. And since people can't really talk about a lot of those things, that's why we have things like HushCon. We thought, well, we want a hacker group that gives that feel to new people, and also caters to and gives nice taste, sweet taste, and palatable situations for old hackers to say, here's something really cool that I allegedly found and how to do, and let me share it with you. We wanted that no holds barred, no oppression, no condemnation, nothing that made hackers feel like they had to worry about themselves, no matter who was there. We've had some great executives and other type of people that you would think is not the right person to say this to. But I believe that everyone that comes to 615, no matter what gets approached, it comes and leaves there, and they saw it as knowledge, and they gain knowledge, as shared knowledge. No one is malicious, and I don't think most hackers by nature ever are malicious. They're never out trying to hurt something. They're curious. Now, it's easy to be disgruntled and offend someone and then do something to retaliate. But with age comes maturity, and and more experience in what they're doing, and we don't have time to argue with someone disgruntledly over the internet. We got a job and things to hack, important things to knowledge to put out there to secure people's environments and make sure their PII is safe, their CHD is secured, their medical information, PHI is what we say as secure as possible. It's an uphill battle because it was forgotten for so long. Just think about all the moving gears and parts that are there within that. All of that is the experience and positioning that we're bringing into Dc615. So you can think of it as, we have the experienced pen testers that have seen this realm, and then we have security engineers in the blue team that has also been there, seen it, and working it every day. And we have the other guys are young and still learning and curiosity, and they don't have these corporate networks to play on and test on, and they may do some nefarious things. And at that time, you want those people to feel that they have a safe environment to share that knowledge with and get advice. And if someone comes in and does that, then we tell them, hey, look, probably should have thought about that a little bit differently, or we could have spun up a VM for you. Why don't you just let us know, and we'll create a VM for you. We'll create an environment here in the VM that replicates what you thought you saw, and we'll give you a safe place to test it. So we don't want that theory for us was we don't want anyone that's growing up like us to feel like because they thought or they did something that they're suddenly going to be in trouble here. And we can give them new and proper guidance and new ways of doing it. Because when we were younger doing it, we didn't have virtual machines. We didn't have any way to test like that, and now we do. So I think that's a great theory and a great philosophy. It's kind of how we built the Dc615. And going into that or expanding that, it was, it's too easy to get catered towards the elite hackers because we talk and communicate with all those guys all the time, and we want to keep one-upping each other and moving forward. And that's very easy to put off somebody that just walked in the door off the street. And a primary goal for us was to have a way in any avenue possible within technology that anyone walking through that door that's never seen the type of tech before could leave that environment at the end of the night and gained some type of knowledge and felt like they they've done something with their hands and their thoughts that was rewarding to them, that they felt, man, I want to do that again. I can expand on that. It was fun at the least, because it is fun. Things like lockpicking, retro gaming, building them on Raspberry Pis, explaining how Raspberry Pis work, letting them build an image, put it on. Those are things that people can go, wow, I didn't know that's possible. Was relatively easy with the guidance on hand, and feel like they've done something. So I came up with the idea, I was like, look, why don't we make our own badges? I think we should make our own badges. That'd be pretty cool. And it needs to fit many possible avenues of people and education spectrums in order to fit our methodology for Dc615 and still be cool. And the fact of, if someone else has already engineered or laid out the instructions, now we're just teaching somebody how to solder. We can explain how the parts work and all the resistors, transistors, and the Arduino works. Or we can just say, hey, these are our parts instructions. Here's how you solder. Do that first. Here's how you test for continuity between the devices. So when we start troubleshooting it, when we start programming them, there's tons of steps that they go, wow, I learned this and I learned that, and they feel really cool when they leave. Or when they come back next week because they didn't finish in time. Now they're here, or next month. So now they're there for 2 months in a row. They start making friends, and they've all of a sudden established a new avenue for education and educating themselves. And that's the greatest thing that you can do and contribute, and the greatest part of having a DC group is because you've provided the avenue for free knowledge and knowledge because knowledge is man's right. To pertain or to obtain knowledge is the right of mankind, and to facilitate that is really the highlight of your life and your career, that you've reached a position that you have knowledge you can contribute and give back and shed light into someone else's avenues and restructure their desires. Maybe they're coming in a second career and going, man, this is really interesting. you're providing that for them now. So we really can't say enough about how great it is to be a part of a community and starting a DC615 group. For us, 615, for you, whichever one it is. But if you don't have one in your area, I suggest that you create one. If you do have one in your area, I suggest you look it up and start joining it. Visit it if you're not yet. But anyways, I know, rambled, and you probably want me to get to the badges. So let's start getting to the badges and see what our DC615 badges are. But first, in the name of all hackers, I need a drink, because I need to drink all the booze before I can hack all the things. So let's start with that. Need some trusty vodka. That looks like enough. If you're ever unsure, just put more in. Alright. Yeah, a little cup of some mixer here for me. There we go. Give that a little shake. This is your nighttime bartendering. Ooh, that's a cold cup. Ah, delicious. Delicious. Okay. So, our badges. Let's talk about that. This is a full DC615 badge with a big, giant LED matrix and all of those cool, glorious things. Alright. Here's a normal DC615 badge without a matrix. And I like having both. This is a little bit easier to wear around. It's a lot lighter because there's not 72 LEDs on the bottom matrix. It's nice and easy. You wear it when you go to any other con. The other idea of wearing it at your local conference or your local meetup is it's kind of a way of showing, hey, I completed this. I did this. And then we also, it's also another way for people that are doing one for the first time or get stuck. It's a good way for them to identify the person to go ask. Oh, hey man, you've done that before. Can you help me out where I'm stuck here? And they go and help you out. You know, so it's also an identification call. You know, as you see, there's two parts here. That's because I had this designed to be modularized. So for one, the badge needs to have a modular abilities. And with each modular ability, it needs to be a growth in knowledge that can be obtained. That's another way. So you see someone going on with a full badge. Not only have they gained more soldering experience and technical ability, the programming is different. There's an Arduino that runs the matrix. There's an Arduino that runs a top board. Then there's breakouts. So you have digital breakouts and analog breakouts here. Digital on the bottom, analog on top. So you can get real crazy and have breakout boards. You can run some Bluetooth and all kinds of other different programming, wireless. So you can really grow and start doing crazy hacker stuff at that point. You know, in the bottom matrix, let's go ahead and turn it on. Yeah, you see that? Blinded the crap out of you. Alright. Alright, so we can program the LED matrix on the bottom to say anything we want. In this case, I just had it scroll my handle and say hack all the things. So there we go, got Cyb3r-Assassin. There's my handle if you ever want to look it up. Find me on Twitter, something like that. Gosh, dang, that's bright. So this is on full brightness. When you get into programming, you could program it, put some code in, and change the brightness. You know, and there's some random generators for the top portion of the boards, blinky lights that blink all over the place. I wanted to go all blue. And there's your power and your programming light. All right, so take this battery out. Then you see, now we see that there's many steps involved and there are many possibilities. we've added a matrix, and now we've added ability to go into the code and start changing the wording. You can change, I don't know, you can write your code to be any variable you want. One day when I was at the Defcon parties, I wanted to annoy everyone possible, just to be that guy. So made the whole entire block just strobe. Maybe see if anyone until seizures. Thought that'd be really funny. Not everyone found it as funny as I did, but if anyone went to an epileptic seizure from your badge, that's pretty darn funny. But, you know, so you can make different motions, you can make different times, you could change the brightness, the animation, the way it scrolls, the text it scrolls. The same on the top, you can create your own animations because it's open code, open programming. It programs over an SPI header, or you can take Arduino out and program directly. And then, obviously, the breakout options that we have as well. Alright, so like that's the idea of how can I bring someone in that has no knowledge at all, sit down and actually be able to build one of these. And with a few LEDs and moderate parts, it's not difficult to do. I think this is like a level 1. You know, another thing that we thought of was so many badges are all surface mount now, and surface mounts are cool. You know, and then it's back to, are we showing off with what we can do, or are we providing an avenue that people can build from and learn from? The latter is our answer. So we went with through-hole design. We don't see that very often anymore. A little easier for people to learn solder in the beginning with. Another thing you can do is this particular badge. You can obviously change the colors of the LED if you buy LEDs, and these ones aren't registered LEDs, they're just single LEDs. So put the batteries in this badge. This one belongs to Cyb3r-Assassin, and her programming actually needs redone. Forgot about that. But anyways, you can see that she has a lot of different color LEDs. The ones that aren't on right now are blues. So as that bounces around and looks like a strobing Christmas tree, that's what she chose to do. So that's just another cool option. I mean, you can make it anything you want, any way you want. Well, and mine was just the bigger strobing brick. You do have to build them in batches of 10, and so be prepared for that. With this much hardware too, these badges were fairly expensive to produce, especially the matrix, which is another reason to think of the modularization of the badges, that you can build a top board. There's not much involved. It's fairly inexpensive. When you start talking 72 LEDs and an Arduino and a shift register down here, the price starts to jump up fairly quickly. You know, but if you're going to be around for a while, you're going to have time invested with the group. It's a cool thing to have, and it's cool to show off at cons, and everybody wants to know about it, and everyone wants to know who did it. So that's what we thought of. That's what we wanted to do, and I hope you guys enjoy the Dc615 badges. I probably should have poured this in the beginning. Alright, well, that's moderately long-winded talk. Maybe I can do a Defcon talk about it, or another DerbyCon talk about badges. I do know this year we're going to have some group things for DC groups at Defcon this year, for Defcon 25. I know during Defcon 24 we did a talk with a couple other groups that were available at the time, since Defcon groups are pretty young at the moment, about starting them and finding places, because finding places is pretty difficult. So if you're going to make Defcon this year for 2017, Defcon 2025 it should be, find that, get involved. I really encourage you to do that. You can find some of us from 615 with our badges, obviously, and if you guys create one in time, give Mr. Blinky Bling a ring, see what they'll do for you. We'll be really excited to see you guys there, and love to talk about what you've done, what your thoughts behind it were, your theories you came up with, and why you created your badges. So show us what cool things you did, and we'll look forward to seeing you there for 2017.